Breakfast of the day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Breakfast of the day,
every day.
every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted.
In today's bulletin, Okada Riders Association demand legalization. Fraudulent passengers will soon pay fares through mobile money, Dr. Baumia. Easing of restrictions impact on commodity market. Akufo-Addo's claim of having paid 98% of microfinance debt-eaters is false, head of association. And on entertainment, Kecha shares the experience in the music industry. Good afternoon. Welcome to Pan-African News at 12. My name is Abena Dede. Details of these stories, including business, sports, entertainment, and international, coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us. The news in detail. The Okada Riders Association of Ghana has held a press briefing at Queen's Hotel in Ashaman to charge the ruling New Patriotic Party government to show some concern by legalizing their business instead of being used as a campaign message during election periods. National Chairman of the Okada Riders Association of Ghana, Tijani Mohammed, at the press briefing, appealed to the Akufo-Addo-led administration to legalize the operations in the country. Mr. Tijani, together with other leaders of the association, aims their demand at the habitual act of politicians who leverage on issues they deem superfluous when in government as their main agenda in the quest of another term of office during election periods.
Yeah, press conference, you say. Problem they buy it in a year and see. And say, oh, illegal. And I say, Abena say, or bar legalize it. And say, NDC. And I see, the NDC legalize it. I don't know, Abena was no more pep when be on legalize it.
I have here the General Chairman for the All Motor Riders Association here in Greater Region, in the person of Issa Abubakari. You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
This is here on Pacho, so church, Nancy, a mobile have a press briefing.
Dintia, I baha in there. Adiano, Ayati, a blind beer of a bano. Or position more when you see say young one yet me dear motor should call Mamma Poto, but to put to a radi and momo. No might eat a fearsome. Or be a baby or show a bar or a boy or cadan. Your top money you pay, no a jay. And should there be a show as some bonning quan or mudikaye, or moon camp papa nedia. who said this year do a Kahamni Mas and Ayantaba, who said Mudiachi. Your Tabani Yepa Umunimia.
Meanwhile, some Okada riders have registered their readiness to give a nod to any government who shows concerns and care towards their business for a proper identification as legal business operators in order to prevent them from being tagged as criminals.
Mr. Miwasem Kakadeka, anything. They say Jumani Krum, Okada Jumana and the boy, Yabusian for Okada Jumana. And he says, Cecia, they hire and say. Ejumani krum okara ejuma na ye na di boy en ho fie se se police ni beju owetu na odi uko ukita 1 million kwa pani chakwa on jida on fie oshuko fa we ri obo osu obetu o traffic on be o ye ejuma traffic on na cars ni na ejina ejuma ese we jina na nka on jis ka no na onya she obo osu ho no this all penny for me I power chance of it today o so o fa nko sometimes ji phone when na high Usha, or the can not or the can not born in motor, no, I do motor. 93 days, what to my for me. What I want, I don't now there, or single, Nina Nashi, as almost I do motor. What I got, you was got Chahandagana. Yadia by a Niska, just how much you want me to make a fine. One to your motor, and this all compare Bushia, as not a do motor. Oh, Julia, now I do madam. Small distance to talk. The time that Nana is on power up to now, they let police people catch. We say we should do motor lances. We all do it. 5 million because some small quest is not there to 5 million. We all do it, and up to now we didn't receive.
If I should get you correctly, you are saying that you were asked to go for licenses, which costs how much?
5 million. We all do it. 5 million. We do it. They let police people. They make operation always. They catch us. So we make sure that we all do it. No. They didn't give me. They just give me cover notes.
But you paid for it.
I pay.
You paid the 500.
We pay. We don't quite amount before they will take us. Even Ashama here, more than 1,000 people. So we are telling the president that if he thinks that Okada is something that you work with us, he should legalize it right now. 3 months to election, he can still do it. He can still do it right now, so that our work will go forward. Yes.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, has disclosed that trotro drivers and passengers will soon be able to pay their transport fares from their mobile money accounts. The mobile money payment interoperability allows for the transfer of funds from mobile money accounts to bank accounts and vice versa, as well as providing a link between mobile or bank accounts to biometric payment and e-cards, e-switch.
We are the leading country in Africa on mobile money interoperability. Nobody has done what we've done, and we're able to do it for $4.5 million, not even $10 million, but they were charging us $1.2 billion to do this, and we saved over $1 billion just on mobile money interoperability.
The Abogeti contract, did we pay them anything?
No, I think that from what I gathered, they took us to arbitration in London, and I don't think they've been able to prove their case in London. I think the Bank of Ghana had a very strong case.
A foreign company or a local company?
I think it was a local company.
$1.2 billion. Interoperability into our car say yes, we can baby say over 60 million Ghanaians have a bank account. I say anything.
I'm not Kwame. Who say banking is now branchless banking. A bank account, no, and just say uko a dime bimuna wako open a bank account over Yisikana wako check na. Banking is taking place on mobile phones. And so in mobile money interoperability, it means that even if you have a mobile money account, trade sika akogo bank account obitly ama from a bank account into your mobile wallet. So when you use a current account in a bank, you can use your mobile account the same way. You can make payments, you can receive payments. Mobile wallet so it meets your interest so on your balances. So the use or the possession, giving mobile money interoperability, and which is Ghana is the only country in Africa, the only country. In Ghana, if you have a mobile money account, it's as good as a bank account. In Kenya, if you have a mobile money account, it is not as good as a bank account, even though it can come close, but because you don't have that interoperability. In Kenya, Yaka say, if you look at the mobile money customers, and you will see that the number of people with bank accounts have grown up very significantly, and that is a credit to what the government of Nana Akufo-Addo is doing, and that is financial inclusion. And because of this mobile money interoperability, we are now able to digitize a lot of government services. So passport is online, DVLA, apply for permits and all of that.
Some market stories, some traders in Accra have lamented over low patronage of goods, albeit easing of COVID-19 restrictions. The commodity marketers, who were found unusually less busy at the time the new team arrived, said they are yet to feel the positive impact of the eased restrictions on their businesses.
The president's announcement on the easing of restrictions in line with government measures to curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic in his 14th address to the nation was a good news to many as well as the traders. This positivity, however, has remained a mirage as they lament that the impact of the easing of the restrictions is yet to be felt on the market. Nana Adodankwa, a trader who sells flying ties, tells me that most of his customers pay what he supplies are churchgoers whom have not resumed service despite the president's directive to open churches.
Flying ties, and I'm corona restrictions na whole lockdown na sifo ye ba ye say who say affect we djuma ne say affect me pa e say na asori fo nko asori fo na total yi school fo ju mo kwa bo to black ties ni bo tie e ba sa no kra e kwa me ba duru ase fi no pa kra obi a be bu sa say
Charity Soon, a secretary of the Accra Demonstration Market Women Association, explained that her situation is even worse. According to her, she has lost more than gained as a result of zero purchase, leaving her goods to perish. Charity, however, added that the easing of the restrictions has not made the situation any better.
Oh, ini bi echake wa. Nini hani nke ini bi echake. Aka obanye wa bajano. No yellow. Ye ini bi am. Kami ba ka hwem. Kami ba ka hwem. Anokra ni ba nlu efe fite. Ejake kolo bibi amekpelu eni ehetu efe eye. No ehani mbonyomo. Oh, no eche wa. Eno eche kaja lebi ni ba ne ni ne iwon ko tu sidi. Ona ke pakora ni nke lu enhwem. Aje ahenkwen inwojila ejenwo ni efe
Our interaction with Na Ashami, a paper seller in both retail and wholesale quantities, really echoed the extremity of her colleagues. She mentions that most of the customers who bought usually in larger quantities no longer make purchase.
She talk more miacho ominiano oh courageous ni bra efite ni bi wa wojila fe bashi fese woye menu woni a restaurant ka yina ba hi oni ame hawo de na ka mefe amenya me badamba ni ame wala ni wojila fe bashi wona loko na akra ya courageous ni.
Meanwhile, the CEO of the Ghana Commodity Exchange, Kabul Alpha, has disclosed that the GCX has registered a drop of 30% to 40% in farmers registering to sell their products due to the pandemic. He added that buyers in these unusual times are hard to find, whereas farmers who have taken back their products either to feed themselves or find alternative means of selling them.
Well, the business of this market is accompanied by the easing of restriction and lifting of the lockdown by the president. But on the other hand, it looks like the business is not reflecting on the sales of the market women here at the Tama Station market. They tell me that regardless of the easing of restriction and lifting of lockdown, business is still not booming as it's used to. Reporting for Pan African News, Fauzu Masaudu, Tama Station, Accra.
Now moving on, a coalition of civil society organizations led by Stranek Africa has condemned ethnocentrism in the run-up of December elections. Addressing the media in Accra, the coalition wants Ghanaians to speak against ethnocentric comments from government officials. Now prior to this, we'll be speaking to Ni Tete. He is the executive director of Stranek Africa. Let's go and have details of this one.
During just the ended voters registration exercise, we are all witnesses to the state-sponsored acts of national disunity and systematic marginalization of non-account speaking Ghanaians. We saw the sponsored efforts to prevent a section of the Ghanaian population from registration to vote in the just ended registration exercise conducted by the Electoral Commission of Ghana. These were acts of discrimination. Rather than challenge the prospective registrants who are perceived to be unqualified, as provided for under CI 94, CI 126, there was physical use of violence to prevent such Ghanaians from registering, as happened in the eastern border of the country. These developments are very, very dangerous, and they represent the greatest threat to our national unity, stability, peace, and security project. We, as a collective civil society organizations, including Stranek Africa, condemn ethnocentric comments. Let us as Ghanaians come together and shun and chastise people who make such comments, because we are one people. No tribe, and I repeat, no tribe is superior than the other, and that is why Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution provides every citizen of Ghana equal rights, no matter the race, place of origin, color, religion, creed, or gender. The President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, must not hesitate to ask the Honorable Simon Mensah to reign or cause his dismissal, to show his abhorrence to divisive comments that are inimical to our unity as a country.
Now I understand we'll be joined in on phone by Ni Tete. He's the executive director of Stranek Africa. Ni, good afternoon. Welcome to Pan African News. Hello.
Hello? Yes, hello.
Good afternoon, Ni. Welcome to Pan African News.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you, Ni. Ni, kindly tell us the meaning of ethnocentrism. Kindly explain to us.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me say good afternoon to your listeners or viewers. Ethnocentrism, clearly, in a layman's definition or understanding, is actually saying things against a certain tribe, which is very derogating the meaning, and that's actually the layman explanation of ethnocentrism.
Okay, Ni, we understand you held a press conference yesterday. Kindly tell us what really transpired. Why the press conference?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, so that particular press conference that we did yesterday was clearly to name and shame public officials who have engaged in ethnocentric and tribalistic comments over the past years and of past months. And we mentioned the name. First of all, we mentioned that the Honorable K.T. Hammond, said something about Votarians and Togolese being the same tribe, and so Votarians are not Ghanaians. And then he also made mention of the fact that the Honorable William Kwetu also said very demeaning comments about the people of the North. Then we also made mention of the Honorable Simon Mensah, who is actually the Minister for Ashanti region, who insulted the Northerners and said that with the greatest respect, Northerners were bereft of sense. and that they destroy anything they touch, and even that their votes are not too influential to even add up to any election in terms of vote and what have you. And that is where we thought that, well, as public officials, Ghanaians voted for a government or a political party to serve or to represent them. And so, if you are in power, serving the good people of this country, and you are engaging in a eccentric comment, clearly it means that you are actually trying to bring divisive. You are trying to bring on board a divisive country. It means that you are not trying to preach unity, and we thought that there must be unity and peace in this country. And that's why the press corps were saying that public officials who engage in ethnocentrism to comment and biology must desist from it.
The project
it does not bring us together. Now we are constantly calling on His Excellency the President to ask the Honorable Simon Semen to resign, to tender a resignation letter, just as the Honorable William Kwetu did. Now, what is good for the goose is equally good for the gander, and that is why we clearly think that it is important that he is made to resign. Now, if he does not resign, it clearly means that the President accommodates and is comfortable with derogatory comments. And I clearly do not think that he's actually comfortable with it, because the Honorable William Kwetu, who is the Member of Parliament for Akimoda on 20, at the quarter, was made to resign. And so we thought that it is proper. Or that audio has been. What matters is that he was a public official. He made that comment. Yes, they have people. But when it was brought to the attention of Sonic Africa and some, we put it wise to
can you please position yourself well?
Let's stop the eccentric comments. Let us stop the travel biography, because we're entering into election. And when we're going to the election like this, we must advise them that when you start coming, you can assure yourself that there's not going to be peace in this country when things like that are being said about a certain tribe over the other.
Okay. Nee, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we've been in conversation with Nee Tete. He is the Executive Director of Stranek Africa. He was giving us update with regards to a press conference held yesterday in Accra, speaking against ethnocentrism. Now, moving on to other stories. In celebration of the International Children's Day, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has outlined some activities to be undertaken on 28th to 31st August 2020. There's more on this. All right, so we will be joined pretty shortly on phone by Mrs. Florence Aisi-Korte. Yes, if she's on the line. Hello, madam, good afternoon. Okay, so you're trying as much as possible to connect with now to some other stories. A non-governmental organization, the Alliance of Women in Media Africa, in partnership with the School of Information and Communication Studies, Legon, has launched its maiden report on the status of women in the Ghanaian media landscape. Now, the report was launched at a forum organized by the NGO on the theme providing evidence for gender equality and advocacy.
The project, which was undertaken under the auspices of the United States Embassy in Ghana, aims at generating empirical evidence on women in the Ghanaian media and to also serve as a basis for engagement with different key stakeholders on better conditions for women in the media industry. Over the years, a woman's success story has been associated to all things physical, especially her body and looks, with the exception of her hard work, dedication and passion towards achieving success. Women have had to deal with marginalization in all aspects of their lives, from pay disparity to gender disparities and gender-based harassment in their chosen field of work, most especially in the media fraternity. The report by Alma therefore sought to review the status of the Ghanaian woman in media and to provide vital data and evidence to aid advocacy towards greater representation and participation of women in the media industry. In the report that was conducted using 318 female newsroom employees between the ages of 19 to 39, 23% of the respondents stated that their respective organizations do not have any written policy on gender equality, neither was there equal pay for equal work. The report on gender-based harassment also indicated that 23% had been victims of inappropriate physical contact by their bosses and offensive comments about their appearance, while 16% of them made mention of suggestive and flirtatious looks from their male colleagues and most especially their bosses. Speaking at the launch of the report on Wednesday, August 26, 2020, convener of the Alliance of Women in Media Africa, Shamima Muslim, touched on the misrepresentation of women in the media landscape.
Women have been part of Ghana's media landscape since independence. Even before independence, women were part of Ghana's media landscape. So the question is, if we have been contributing to telling stories about our society, why are our images not all the way to the top? Why 3 years after independence we cannot count 5, 4, even 3 women who actually own media organizations? It will be impossible. You cannot get up to that number. There was a recent study by Media Foundation for West Africa. For the women who even had some ownership, it was co-ownership with their partners. But we know who owns the media in Ghana. It's mostly males. And if you own the media, you have a certain power in terms of what stories are told and what you put out there in the media. So it is important we have this study to provide the evidence so we can begin tracking the progress women are making in the media and find out what we can do so more women come into the media, stay in the media, rise through the ranks and own media networks.
What will be done to ensure that the findings that have been published out will not just become a one-night thing, but you follow up on it? Because after that we saw some conclusions that you had made and you were going to make some policies. What are you going to put in place to push forward to liaise with either the Ministry of Information or Communication so that those policies are taken into consideration?
First of all, we have to liaise with the media in itself first, because we have to accept this as our report and make sure that we give it the visibility it deserves. We discuss the issue the report raises. We increase awareness about the situation, because when you build mobilization around an issue, it's easier to get government to act.
Okay, so Mrs. Florence Aisi-Korte, yes, the director of the Department of Children, she's online. Hello, good afternoon, ma.
Hi.
Welcome to Pan Africa News. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Pan Africa News.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Kindly tell us about this year's Children's Day celebration.
Yeah, so this year, National Children's Day celebration is celebrated every 31st of May. So this year is on Monday at the Nat Hall. That's a climax event. And we are using the celebration to mark the 5-year anniversary of one of our policies, which is called the Child and Family Welfare Policy that was launched 5 years ago. So we are looking at what the policy has been able to achieve, so system, in terms of behavior changes, and the way forward, how we can plan for the next 5 years as the strategic plan for the policy and next year.
All right. Do you have a theme for this year's Children's Day celebration? What's the theme?
Yeah. The theme is the 5 years of implementing the Child and Family Welfare Policy, achievement, and goals.
Okay. So why that theme? Can you please position yourself well? Hello? Hello, ma. I can hear you. Can you please position yourself well? Okay, so we are trying as much as possible to get in touch with her. Meanwhile, the flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, Ivor Kobna Green Street, has maintained that his party has so much to deliver to Ghanaians when voted into power. Okay, so the re-elect. Okay, she's on the line. Madam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you so much. So, how about this year's theme? Why the theme?
That's what I'm saying that from about 5 years ago, this policy was launched to be implemented by all stakeholders who have anything to do with children and their development. And so 5 years after implementation, it's good that we take stock of what we've done so far and look at what challenges we face and what do we do together to mitigate the challenges and then plan again for the next year. So that is beginning of planning exercise. Gaining from the public, what are the new areas maybe they want us to focus on in terms of child protection in the country and how best to strengthen our families so our children will be better protected.
Okay, so I read your press statement cautioning parents to be mindful of how they treat children, especially in this coronavirus season. Highlight more on that.
Yeah, because we know that now children are in the house, and only a few of them are in school. So, which means that they're spending a lot of time with their parents. So, we want parents to also be mindful of where or what side their children are using to learn and to ensure that they still continue to have access to education at this time also. Because it's critical. The number of months they be in the house is too long, and that we need to keep education going in one form or the other to ensure that children don't become too rusty when they come back to school.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so that was Mrs. Florence Aisi-Korte on phone. He has given us update on this year's Children's Day celebration. Now, moving on to our 8th story, flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, Ivor Kobna Green Street, has maintained that his party has so much to deliver to Ghanaians when voted into power. The re-elected leader of the party added that they would, up with social and economic policies that are different, I will ensure equal opportunities for all. He spoke in an interview with my colleague on Newsbreak, Fauza Masawudu. Apologize for not bringing you that footage of that particular story. Now, meanwhile, the parliamentary candidate of the National Democratic Congress for the Asin North constituency, James Joe Quayson, has indicated that infrastructure development will help reduce unemployment in the country. Speaking on Pan-African Television's Constituency Connect show, he believes that the erstwhile John Dramani Mahama administration did exceedingly well in infrastructure development. He also outlined his plans and policies for the constituency.
So we have to look at small-scale industries. This is my vision for my constituent. And in fact, this vision should go across the country. Small-scale industries looking at the very produce of that community. So you're going to start to that period. You have to have a way to, we have to devise a better method to, it's more like a cooperative, but at the same time, you get a monthly sort of remittance to maintain yourself. If it's cocoa, yes, we know that Ghana already has an arrangement to sell cocoa abroad. But we should be able to scale some of it to set up some cocoa industries. make our chocolate milks, make all kinds of stuff. We got, you know, but before all that, we need a reliable electricity supply. There's at least about 2 local industries in Asen that I noticed collapse just because they couldn't afford electricity. And everybody goes into business to make profit. If they're going to go in and lose at the end of the day, and they had employed people. Some of the local factories were employing over 60 people, which is encouraging. I think there could be a better way. I'm looking at Asen North, and I'm going to have a vision and I have a plan. We're going to look at some of this, and I got entrepreneurs who are willing to come and help. So long as they have a trustworthy person at the seat. See, that's one of the problems we have, because foreign investors also have issue with who they're going to deal with.
We have seen the footage for this particular story. Flag bearer of the Convention People's Party, Ivan Kobna Greenstreet, has maintained that his party has so much to deliver to Ghanaians when elected into power. The re-elected leader of the party added that they would up their social and economic policies that are different and will ensure equal opportunities for all. There's more on this.
Captain's speech, you reiterated the fact that the Convention People's Party would, deliver. I want to find out from you, what exactly are there to be delivered?
Well, we believe there's so much that needs to be delivered to the ordinary people of Ghana. At the moment, there's this large discussion going on about the infrastructure records of the NPP and the NDC. But what about the infrastructure of your stomach, the infrastructure of your heart, the infrastructure of your daily lives? For the ordinary Ghanaian, the cost of living is very, very high. For the ordinary Ghanaian, employment, life is very edgy. For the ordinary Ghanaian, and has to spend so much on his health, things are very, very hard. And so we are going to come out with policies and programs, social policies, economic policies, which are entirely different, which refer to making sure that every Ghanaian is able to have opportunity in their daily life.
Okay. You fantastic. You've outlined a lot of, the things to look out for, but there are still a good number of Ghanaians who still think that the CPP has been missing in action. And so anytime the CPP comes out to tout what they have achieved in the past, or, to lay down what Ghanaians should expect from them when voted in office, people still think it's utopia. Because when we talk politics now, it's NPP or NDC. How are you able to convince Ghanaians that you are ready for?
We shall adopt a communication strategy that will appeal to the hearts and minds of Ghanaians, based on the fact that we believe survey upon survey has been conducted, not by the CPP but by independent bodies, which demonstrate the Ghanaians are not entirely satisfied with the performances of these two parties over the last 25 to 27 years.
You're still watching Pan-African News at 12 with me, Ivy Abena Dede Nakita. We are streaming live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We also streaming live here on Pan-African Television. Our studio here at Abelempe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. We go for a quick break. We return with more stories.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Hello?
Oh, Sisiana sound.
Okay, wait a minute. Why? My wife comes and send a message you. Hello. What's happened?
It's a chunk who's will be a quiet say what?
Besides, friend of friend, I'm so used to. No, I was not testing messages here. And our officer, so I'm trying to tell you, she says, I
mean, so we a guy manu and may young who could look cry. And to also want a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's it then? Family Drilling Company Limited.
Ye two borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Naso, ye be, Frey 0240 333 111 and that's 0244 144 822.
Miampa and no swimming pool, me see. Me want to, we'll be here. Family Drilling, now Family Drilling.
So fast is your last shit.
Me out with that shit.
For staying now, wrapping up on our local front, there has been an alleged gunshots at Takwa Dompem over what is believed to be chieftaincy dispute. According to Pan-African Television's sources in the area, the gunshots were as a result of some group of persons who stormed the King's Palace in an attempt to disturb him. They say the situation has been brought under control with the presence of the police. Yes, we have been joined on phone by the Member of Parliament, Honorable George Mweku, to give us more details. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Pan-African Television.
A pleasure.
Okay. Honorable, can you quickly tell us what is happening?
Yes, let me say good afternoon to your charity viewers. Yesterday in the morning around 5:30, I had a distress call. Let me say distress calls from my hometown, Dumping. And my brother is also the chief of Dumping. And that the palace has been surrounded by armed policemen, and that they are holding an eviction order from circuit court that says they should come and evict the chief. So say, oh, if you have to come and evict the chief who lives in a palace with his mother, grandmother, family members, wife and children, I believe we can have a way of joy to say that yes, pack your things and leave because the court says. And we also have a municipal security council, the MUSEC is also there. At least the municipal chief executive has a security council. So he could have also been consulted because it borders on chieftaincy, borders on community, it borders on whole human life. And we're not in a jungle where we can behave as if we are in a war-torn area. Then the police come, and then in less than 30 minutes, I had another call. Honorable, they are burning the palace. The palace is in flames. So I said, no, it's my palace, and I wouldn't sit down for such a thing to happen. So I'm going to witness it, because if you even put politics aside, that's my heritage. Something that was built around 1837. And if it's being burnt down because of a court eviction order, very unfortunate. I went there thinking that that will even calm situation. I called the MC that we needed the fire service to come and quench the fire. The fire service also got there, but things had escalated at the time they got there, and they were able to quench the fire. So I engaged the police. Why them? It is an eviction order. Is that the procedure? Is it an order? Why? And according to the chief, he wasn't even served. He didn't know it till that morning, 5 a.m. He didn't know anything of the order. I believe we could have, engaged.
Okay. Honorable, is it that the current chief wasn't rightfully installed or outdoored?
Sorry?
Is it that, what is the reason? Is it that the current chief wasn't rightfully installed and outdoored?
the chief was the rightful chief who has not been impeached in any way traditionally. He was nominated by the Queen Mother and stood, traditionally and stood, and he's been our chief. So and then recently another fashion came that in the one afternoon they said they stood the chief. Went through court procedures. He's not even going through. He's no public person. He nominated him, and I don't want to discuss that one bother your viewers. That's not needed. But what has happened is the most important thing. So the case has been running, through circuit court to high court, the traditional. So it's still plenty. Even there's a case that they need to attend in October. So it was surprising to hear that the police team have been given a court order to evict, and they came the bulldoze way. I called the regional minister whether he's aware of what was happening. He said no, he didn't know of it. He wasn't equally informed at the time that the team was there. So, and the regional minister had the respect. So why this breach?
Okay. Wrapping up, kindly tell us the current situation of Takwa Dompim. Has calm restored in the palace?
As this morning, there were other, warning shots here and there, shootings here. People are in the bush as I speak with you. We've spoken to the regional minister. We're restoring calm. We've asked the military to come and intervene and see how best we can restore peace. So they are on their way to Dompim, and I believe very soon and calm will be restored.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Yes.
Okay, so we have been in conversation with Member of Parliament Honorable Mireku George Daka. He is the Member of Parliament for Taka in Suayem constituency. Now, to the world of business, the head of Association of Affected Customers of Savings and Loans Institutions says the president's claim that he has paid about 98% of debt-seekers is untrue. According to Ezekiel Wano, the Bank of Ghana had reviewed that about 3.3 million people had been affected after the license of these financial institutions was revoked. Speaking in an interview, he stated that from his checks, only about 297,000 people, which is less than 10% of the total number, have received their monies. President Akufo-Addo recently in an interview said 98% of debt-seekers at the microfinance and savings and loans have been paid. He added that the rest would be paid by the end of August 2020. However, Mr. Ezekiel Wano indicated that many of the affected people, after submitting their claims, were told during the validation process that their names could not be found in the system. Meanwhile, Minority Leader in Parliament Haruna Idrisu is demanding an audit of the payment of monies to debt-seekers of the collapsed financial institutions. He explained that the audit will put to light whether the claims by the presidents are reliable. Meanwhile, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has stated that all customers of the 9 failed banks and over 95% of customers of specialized debt-taking ranking institutions, which was affected by the banking sector cleanup, have received their debt seats.
Dr. Ernest Addison also disclosed that the receiver appointed to liquidate some of the commercial banks have been able to realize 2 billion Ghana cedis. On payment, the governor noted that more than 96% of the customers of the fund savings and loans and microfinance institutions have been paid. Dr. Addison was, however, hopeful that the remaining funds will be paid soon. The Ghana cedis has witnessed some pressure in recent times, but the governor assures of having the adequate reserves to support the local currency. Dr. Addison indicated that forecast shows that the country's export earnings are also picking up strongly. He was, however, worried about the recent payments and outflows, adding that the country received a lot of resources in the first half of this year. The governor of the central bank said the outflows of the country has also been very significant.
That's all for business. Now let's go into the world of entertainment. Ghanaian musical duo Keche has disclosed how COVID-19 has negatively impacted their career. Speaking on Pan-African Television's Swift Africa show, the duo also talked about what they have achieved since their appearance in the music industry. The group is currently promoting a single titled No Darling featuring Kwame Eugene. Let's wrap up today's bulletin with the happenings in sports. Head coach of Black Satellites, Karim Zito, has invited 70 players to camp to begin preparations ahead of the WAFU BU20 qualifiers. There's more on this report.
The players invited will report for the first phase of the national under-20 male team's pre-selection campaign, which will begin on Friday, August 28th. That will be followed by another batch of 70 invited to camp as coach Karim Zito and his assistant Evans Augustine Adote continue the pre-selection exercise. The players invited would be divided into two groups, 70 players in each group, to ensure that all players identified for the pre-selection process undergo the mandatory COVID-19 testing, which will be conducted twice at the GFA Technical. The players, technical staff and essential service provider will be tested upon arrival. All players invited will report at 12 o'clock noon at the Ghana Man's Corps Center of Excellence on Friday.
That's all for this afternoon. Before we go, a recap of our headlines. Okada Riders Association demand legalization